Welcome to the More Demand podcast, where we help you generate more demand for your products and services. Every episode we give you tips, tricks and tutorials on how to get the best out of your digital marketing. Less frustration, more demand. Here's your host Lawrence Howlett with this week's freshest tips.
Hello and welcome to the More Demand podcast, episode number 35. This week I have with me Jason Swank from jasonswank.com. He is on a mission to help digital agency owners grow and succeed in their business. He's been through it before, creating a multi-million-dollar agency. He's sold that, as he said, for a nice paycheck, and now is on a pure mission to help other agency owners build better businesses, but is also an absolute master of lead generation. He understands how to get people into his sales funnel by simply caring about them and helping them achieve their goals and solve their challenges. His website, jasonswank.com, is fantastic at generating leads, at getting you into the sales funnel by helping you out, and you really do feel like he is genuinely helpful, which he is, and you're going to find that out on this podcast episode. So I'm going to introduce Jason now and welcome him on to the More Demand podcast. Hi Jason, welcome to the More Demand podcast. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no worries at all. So I just wanted to get a bit of background information about yourself. I know you were an agency owner like myself, but you stepped away from that. So just tell us a bit about that story.
Yeah, I started an agency back in 1999, I guess a little bit after Al Gore actually invented the internet, and kind of fell into it, right? I started designing websites, making fun of some of my friends that looked like Justin Timberlake, and people started giving me money, and I was like, this is cool. I can make money doing this. And so built the agency up over 12 years. And then when we built it up to, a multi-million-dollar business, a lot of people wanted to buy us, and someone gave us a nice check, and we were like, cool, that's nice. And what next?
Yeah, exactly. And, that is a dream and a great exit strategy, I guess, from the agency world. But then you said, what next? So what did you come up with?
Well, I struggled with this for a couple of years, actually, right? So I always thought, kind of being on the, outside the agency space, that the grass was greener on the other side. And so I wanted to develop a product. And so I developed an iPhone app that took pictures of everything that you ate and then gave you a visualization and shared it with your friends. And I just didn't enjoy it. I thought it was a cool idea that we came up with, but I just didn't like going after that particular market. I was always a runner and always into fitness, but, not kind of like the crazy people that are into fitness, right? I'm probably still 20 pounds overweight. I kind of wasn't taking pictures of what I did, so I didn't believe in it. So I shut that down. And then I had some friends reach out to me. They wanted help with digital marketing, and they needed an innovation officer. So worked for this big $40 million company for about a year and a half. And then I was lucky enough that some of my old competition actually started reaching out to me saying, hey, how did you land Lotus Cars as an account? Or how did you get Hitachi? And how'd you do this and this? And I started helping them out for free and just absolutely loved it. And then I said, well, let me put together some information on the website and see if this helps out everybody. Because I always struggled with creating content back in my agency. And the reason being is we just didn't have a good particular understanding of who that audience was or what we should write about. And so I started doing it this time, and the business just absolutely took off.
So you really focused on, a single and specific problem, I suppose, that people, it's a little bit of luck, isn't it, that you fall into some things sometimes. People were reaching out and it was sparking some ideas, but it was that sort of problem identification of, hang on, I can help more than just one person with this.
Well, there's always signs around, right? Things are always in front of you as opportunities. You just need to recognize them. And, it's just, I'm always open to try new things outside of just food. I'm very close-minded when it comes to food. I kind of like the basics, right?
Okay, yeah.
Anything way out there, you won't see me try it. But anything else, like I'll be the first one to jump off a cliff. I'll be the first one to jump out of an airplane, right? So adventure stuff, no problem, or business stuff. And that's how I look at business. So, there's opportunities always out there, but you just need to kind of read the signs.
Yeah, no, good advice, definitely. And then how did you, formulate that idea into the business that you've got now, into jasonswank.com?
Yeah, well, it all went down to, I made a decision early on that I was not going to do anything in this business that was money driven. And I wanted to do it all based on how can I help the particular market, and how do I form people around my similar belief of what they're going through, and how do I relate to them. And so I really started building that persona in my head that I was. And so I wanted to create something that I wish I had that I did not see out in the marketplace. So what I found in the marketplace was a bunch of, I don't want to talk negative about them, but they were giving wrong information, and they never ran an agency, or they never owned an agency, or they ran their agency into the ground. And they were just giving really bad advice that I knew was false because, I built an agency up. And so I wanted to kind of help that particular market. So I was kind of almost going back, like, I remember one time someone went to me, they go, "Why don't you start another agency? Because now you figured it all out." I said, "Well, that's thinking small. That's just thinking of success for myself, rather than what I'm really after now is being significant, where I actually help other people be successful." And so that's how I started kind of formulating what we were going to do around, the jasonswank.com.
Yeah, I like that word, becoming significant. So what do that says, okay, I'm happy with my bag at the moment. You got the nice check from the agency sale, and it's not about money anymore. That's a nice place to be, that you can then go, okay, I want to be significant now. And I was chatting to someone the other day that said, they want to leave a legacy with their content. This is their gift, as it were. Is that sort of the play that you're going with?
Yeah, I want to, building a legacy is like planting a seed that you will never be able to harvest, but people after you will be able to harvest. So that's how I kind of look at legacy. I don't think I'm there yet, right? I think there's a lot more that we actually have to do. And I want to set my, I have 2 small children, and so, who knows what they'll do. I know one of them will be an entrepreneur because the kid is stubborn and he breaks my balls all the time. So I know he's going to be an entrepreneur, and the other one's going to be like a CFO. So I want to kind of pave the way so they can do whatever they want, and have a really good name to kind of step into. Not kind of like nepotism, but kind of do that for them. That's what I think about for a legacy for my family, my children. And the cool thing is we live in the first kind of generation where everything we do is kind of documented, right? So like this podcast, someone could be listening to this 400 years from now being like, this is the first generation that really documented and became their own media.
Yeah, it's a great time to be part of that, and it is the edge of the curve, isn't it? That we're, as you say, documenting everything from even Snapchatting to Instagram to everything. Every single moment is being stored, there for bringing back from the files, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. Like your great grandchildren could be looking at listening to the interview of what you're doing now and be like, man, that's the one thing that, I'm always, I wish I was asking my father and my grandparents, like, tell me more about your parents, right? And more about, when you were growing up. Now our kids can just go back and look at all the stupid stuff Dad did.
Yeah. Check out his Facebook profile.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, everything's documented. So, that's really pretty cool. And it's amazing with all these technologies that we have. I mean, think about, we're not, you can work from home. You could build you probably could duplicate the same agency I had with probably, 10 to 20 people versus like 100. I mean, it's crazy what you can do now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that sort of remote working, embracing remote working. I know we're going off on a bit of a tangent, but I love the book from 37 Signals, Remote. It's a fantastic read, and embracing that sort of, open mindset of having people they can be anywhere in the world in your business. And, we definitely embrace that at More Demand, having, people, we've got Josine and Ken in the Philippines, we've got people in the UK, we've got people all over the place that are working for us. And it's a fantastic model.
Yep, exactly.
So tell me a bit about what you're doing for clients on jasonswank.com.
Yeah, so it's all about just sharing my story as well as other digital agencies' story of starting, growing, struggling, enjoying, and selling their agency. And so it's all about, providing kind of like Tony Robbins always says, success leaves clues. So I'm trying to leave you guys big nuggets, big clues of going, all right, this worked for us in the past, so go implement this. I mean, that's kind of why I have the podcast, the Smart Agency Masterclass, where I interview agency owners, and I want them to share their stories. I do it for a couple of reasons. I do it so they know that they're not alone. Because when I was running an agency and you talk to kind of the people right down the road, what do they say? Man, we're doing fantastic. But they're like a duck on a pond. They're lying to you, right? Their feet are going so fast. They're worried. They're sinking, right? They got bullet holes in them, whatever it is. And so I wanted people to understand that they're not alone, that there's other people that have gone through this and they've gotten through it. So it's kind of like that 4-minute mile, which the cool part is my dad actually went to school with the dude that broke the 4-minute mile.
No way. That's awesome.
Claim
to fame.
Yeah, so I have lots of claim to fame. I stayed in Jimmy Buffett's room in college, right? So all kinds of stupid little stuff. But someone had to break the 4-minute mile in order to figure out, hell, we can break the 4-minute mile. I personally can't.
No.
I'm too big, I'm too fat to do that, but I can run it sub 6. But, I wanted to show people that it's possible. You can create whatever you want. There's other people like you that are struggling.
Yeah, and I've definitely listened and do listen to the Agency Owner podcast, being an agency owner myself, and it's just interesting how that you can engage with people when they're in the most ridiculous place. I mean, I remember one episode where I was listening, I was at a week's holiday in Dubai, and I just had my notepad out all the time, just thinking, I need to do that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And with podcasts, you can just go anywhere with that. These get listened to on the plane, on the train, on holiday, out running, all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, podcasts are amazing. When my buddy Gene told me he was starting a podcast, I was like, you're an idiot. I was like, who's going to sit in front of a computer and listen to just audio? And he's like, dude, you can take it in your phone. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Let me try it.
Yeah, and it works. Definitely works. So I know some of your pieces on the website is all about lead generation and some blueprints of how you generate leads. So talk me through how you're generating leads for yourself on jasonswank.com.
Yeah, it's all about the first step is I know my audience better than they know themselves. So I know their biggest desire, I know their biggest struggle, and I put out information that actually helps them. But before you actually, and once you create this content, you've got to be like, well, how the hell do you get in front of them? And you got to get their attention. So you got to do something that stands out. So a lot of times I'll run Facebook ads to particular targets and say, do you struggle with sending the proposal to a client and the client goes completely silent? Does that frustrate you? Would you like to solve that? And then I give them something of value that they can digest. I don't give them a BS, ebook that no one's ever going to kind of digest. Right? I'm not just trying to get their email address. I'm actually trying to help them. And that's a big difference that people need to realize when you're doing lead generation and you're trying to build your business. You have to help someone first before they trust you. All right? And then once you do that, then you could use technology and automation and all the other kind of cool stuff to make sure that they engage in that content. And then you actually provide value, so then they trust you, and then you can go from that.
So that's, you said there that you're actually really honing in on some of the challenges and frustrations of your particular audience. And that's just because I suppose you've been through that process yourself. So maybe if you hadn't been through that process and you're, a service-based industry like an accountant, and you're reaching out to, or trying to obviously generate leads for your accountancy practice, how would you suggest getting to really know your audience?
Ask them questions. So many of us don't ask questions, and they just talk. They throw up on their target market, right? So, I mean, if you just listen and you go to these places where these people are hanging out, or you could pick up the phone and call them, say, hey, Mr. Lawyer, I went to law school, but I was better at marketing than law, and I hated to read. But I really I'm fascinated by your industry, and I really want to help out more lawyers do digital marketing. What is your biggest struggle when it comes to digital marketing? What frustrates you? Oh, paying $1,000 per click for DUI attorney? Yeah, that would frustrate me as well. So then immediately I would create an ad saying, are you frustrated that you're spending $1,000 for a keyword in AdWords only to not convert all the time?
Yeah, it's a great strategy to really hone in on that one single challenge that your target potential prospect might have, and actually just by asking questions, you're opening an engagement channel there. I mean, I do it all the time when I'm doing LinkedIn prospecting. I'll just say, what's your number one digital marketing challenge? And the amount of people that come back with a huge response, and you think, that's a great in then, because you can just help in so many different ways.
Yeah, and the cool thing too is when you actually do cold calling into people that you're asking questions and you're putting them up on the pedestal as the expert, you'll probably actually convert them. It'd be like, cool, so you know digital marketing, and could you solve this struggle? Be like, yeah, let me help you out with this.
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to switch around that sort of, as you say, being sick on the keyboard and just, plowing out lots of information all the time and saying, download this great ebook, the 5 tips to do X, Y, Z. I think that's definitely had its day.
Yeah, in the very beginning and even in the middle, you just cannot sit back and wait for the business to come to you, even though you want that, right? I believed when I was running my agency, we had 3 strategies. One was an inbound, one was outbound, and one was a strategic partnership. And so if 1 or 2 went down, we still had the other one to back up. With my business now, it's more just inbound, just based on the business that I've built. And I've gotten to where people think of like, man, I need help with a digital agency. So hopefully they think of, our website. So I'm not picking up the phone anymore. I'm not banging down the doors. But if I did want to get to, the 8-figure mark again, I may have to pick up, the phone. And then I may have to figure out other strategic partnerships that I would have to rely on in order to get there as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, as you've got on your website, you've got a few different sort of options there for where people are in their journey as well. So, whether they want to generate leads or if they've got a problem with this. So it's all very, very sort of problem orientated, I guess, and where they are on their journey. And you've mapped that out from A to B, really, I suppose.
Exactly. Well, I wanted to, when we were going through the redesign of the website, I wanted to think, why are people coming to me? Why are they coming to us, right? And I figured they were coming to us because they want to start an agency, they wanted to generate more leads, they wanted to convert more, they wanted to sell an agency, or they wanted to scale. So why not create categories and content around that actually helps them out? Because we put out so much content on a monthly basis. Now we're putting out at least 2 pieces of content every week. And so some of the good stuff you did 4 months ago is lost. So I wanted to make sure that still lived.
Yeah, because the content is, if it was good, well, a lot of content is still good 6 months down the line compared to 2 weeks ago. People think that you do have to churn out, the cadence has to be there in terms of what works for you in terms of how much content you want to create, but then it's a case of that bit of content's not dead. You can actually go and remarket that again and again.
Oh yeah, like we did, I don't know if you saw that video that we did for the Digital Agency Pledge. If you go to jasonswank.com/digital agency pledge, it literally was a piece of content. It was a video that we created using our community. And we basically said, what's the stuff that you say you'll never do, but you always do? All right. It's kind of like, I'll never send out a proposal without reviewing it with someone, or I'll never work with a client that I know is a bad fit for us. Right. And so literally we created this cool little video, and then we repurposed the hell out of it. So this little video of me holding up Post-it notes, setting it up, and then everybody else holding the signs, we literally turned it into a SlideShare. We turned it on a blog post. We put it on Medium. We put it on Instagram. We created many videos of it, right? So it's all about repurposing all of your content.
Yeah, I like that. One of the quotes is, I will never agree to work on a project with an unrealistic timeline. Yeah, all of these. I'm just like, I need to say yes to every single one of these.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many more, but it's the thing is you got to kind of, when we did that particular video, we kind of used NLP, neuro linguistic programming. So if you think about, if you state two obvious facts that is true, you're going to probably believe all the third, the fourth, and the fifth. And so you think about that, and you see the credibility of the other agency owners holding that stuff up. It just keeps cementing, and you're like, dude, that guy gets me. This guy gets me, right? And it just builds momentum, and it builds, a framework that is hard to tear down later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it really helps by, as you say, knowing your audience first, because that bit of content in a generic website just, wouldn't resonate the same. So, for example, we're launching a fitness brand for a client, and he knows exactly who he wants to speak to. Entrepreneurial people that are super busy, they've got small spaces to work out in, and they've got 30 minutes or less to do the workout, get showered, and get into the office. So that's a really specific niche. But just by doing that, all the imaging, all the wording, everything can be super, super specific.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, that people most of the time miss out on, especially when I first started my agency, I didn't have the clarity of where I wanted to ultimately go, right? I didn't have kind of that why. Why am I doing this? Basically, at the time, I was just creating websites to make money. And that's a horrible why, right? But and then we started going, well, we want to connect marketing and technology together and create an amazing user experience, right? So we started forming that idea more and more. And then we were able to grow. It's kind of like the same kind of my why right now is I want to create something that I wish I had and become the #1 resource in the world for digital agency owners. So I have a North Star that I'm going to. And then I know what different things I can say no to in order to get there quicker than someone just saying, I just want lead generation. Cool, that's cool. You can get lead generation, but what next?
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you want lead generation? There's a great TED talk by Simon Sinek on how to leaders inspire action and start with the why. So definitely go and I think I mentioned it in episode 33 as well. But go and watch that. Just Google why TEDx talk and watch that. It's a really powerful piece.
Yeah, it's great. I love that speech too.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one to go and check out. So what is the sort of the future hold for the Jason Swank brand, and are you building a team around that, or are you just staying as your just you, or how's that sort of plan out?
Yeah, so I have a small team now, and I'm going to constantly build the right team members as we find them. This is not just a solo operation. At first when I was doing this, I wanted to prove to everyone that you could build a $1 million business by yourself. And I was able to accomplish that. But now it's kind of, and as well as work under 100 hours a month. And then I started thinking, I was like, okay, cool, I did that, but I'm kind of bored. And I have an amazing person working with me right now, Stacy, that we have a lot of fun coming up with these goofy ideas. And
I love the cat on the homepage.
Yes, the cat on the homepage. We actually have a new series. If you go to madcatsagency.com, it will take you to a landing page where if you don't give us your email address, the cat keeps getting madder and madder. And it's a new video series that we're going to do. So I always tell people our biggest competition is cat videos and procrastination. So I wanted to partner up with my competition where we're going to do cat videos with voice overlays teaching agency owners strategies of best practices.
And I think, that definitely resonates with your audience, because we are quite a geeky bunch as well. We all love, putting those. You can even have cat placeholders as images,
Yeah, I mean, you put cats in your ad. I mean, look, I got a cat on my homepage, and that video has been shown so many times. Like, people are like, what? Really? I mean, and that was not my intent. My cat kept coming up to me.
Oh, okay. It's just feature me.
Yeah, then I picked up the cat. I'm like, all right, I'll do the whole thing. And then he started wanting to get down, which actually made the video even better, because then I could put a roar to it, right? And then put him down. So,
yeah,
it's kind of, you just got to have fun, and you got to be yourself too. So, what's in store for us? We're just, our North Stars become the best place in the world for agency owners, and just put out the best content that we possibly can, excuse me, and deliver the most value, and then see where that takes us from there, and see, maybe it builds something else after that. But, right now I'm just so focused on, helping, this particular audience. And then who knows, I thought when I would start real narrow and then go broader, but I mean, you think about this space, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, because the barriers to entry has actually been tore down. I mean, all you need is a computer and a mind and, some kind of, guts in order to do it, and you can create an agency.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with some of the WordPress, block builders and theme forest templates, and actually I think, the whole role of an agency has to change. And I'm actually just finishing an article for Smashing Magazine about, is web design dying, and, how that role of the agency is turning much more into, what you're talking about now is how to connect through digital with an audience.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about connections, right? And so, I struggle with this. My team struggles with this sometimes on social media. It's kind of like, how do we reach out to these people? And we'd be like, what do we say? Well, what the hell would you say in a networking meeting or a meeting face to face? And it's just literally social media and the internet, which is the same, is just allowing our reach to be a lot, broader. And we just need to keep operating the same as, we're talking to someone.
Yeah, I like that. What would you say face to face? So if you're ever struggling, with an advert headline, or, maybe, what would, some questions to ask, just think about what you would say face to face in a networking meeting. You've just met this person, or, just shook hands. What would you say next? And try to figure out their challenges from there. Of course, they might not have them. They might just come back and go, no, we're absolutely sorted with digital marketing, in which case, move on. Next customer, please. And I think, that's a point actually, is, having the right fit of people. So do you have a process where, even if you're generating X amount of leads, that you then try and make them to say, which one should I focus on? How are they the right fit?
You're talking about for the prospect coming in?
Yeah, so the prospects come in, and then, the fit for that.
Yeah. So I do that right in the beginning, and it's a process I call progressive profiling thank you pages. And no one does this, which is amazing. And more for me, I guess. My clients are starting to do it. But so it's called progressive profiling thank you pages. And so immediately when someone opts in, and if you guys go to my page, Jason Swank, you'll see this, right? And if you opt in, you're going to immediately be asked a question. Are you a digital agency owner? Are you an entrepreneur? Are you an agency employee or other? I think. I can't remember all of them.
Yeah.
And then immediately after they do that, I ask them, what's the revenue of your company? So immediately I'm tagging them based on what I'm going to show them on the thank you page, as well as what campaigns are they going to go into. And so now I know what to serve them. And the cool thing is 98% of people that opt in go all the way through, versus if I ask them that same BS question once they're already in my campaign, you get maybe a 5% response rate.
Yeah, I think to capture them at the stage where they're hot, as it were, they're just filled in that lead capture form, and then to go to the next stage, humans just can't leave stuff undone. You know, they just want to finish that profile, I guess.
Well, they think too that they have to answer it in order to get the content that they want.
Yeah, that's a very good point to say. Oh, you know, hang on, you're not finished yet. I just need a little bit more, and then I'll send you this, this 3-part video series, or this how to do that blueprint, or whatever it is. That's a great strategy. I like that progressive profiling on thank you pages. So you heard it here first on the More Demand podcast, I guess.
There you go.
So just to sort of round up, because we're coming up to the half an hour mark now. What advice would you give people that want to generate some leads online? You know, what's really working for you right now, and how to take the very next step?
You have to kind of immerse yourself and figure out what's their biggest challenge that they're struggling with, that you can actually help them, and then actually develop a piece of content that actually helps them, because then you're going to demonstrate you can actually help them, and then you can actually get paid for it after that.
Yeah, and it's super important to actually want to help people. You know, if you're that type of person that is just doing it with the money at the end of the funnel, or you think you're going to be able to create this super complex funnel without actually wanting to help people, and you put all the desire and the effort in there, I think this type of marketing is just not going to work for you.
Yeah, it's not, and you got to be patient. There's too many people that go, well, Jason, I created a landing page and I sent some traffic to it, and I didn't get any clients yet. I'm like, dude, it's been a week.
And I can resonate with that, definitely. I've tried to get people onto a particular webinar for the More Demand series. We've tried all sorts of different ads, different pitches, and in the end, it's just not a challenge that people in my audience were having, and it took 3 months to figure that out, with all different messaging. And actually what I should have done is just asked at the start, and when I did ask and create a bit of content that resonated, wow, what a difference.
Yeah, it's also about knowing who the perfect prospect or client needs to be, and realizing that you need to weed out the wrong ones. So, we have a pretty good criteria of the people that we work with. Now, sometimes some people sneak by and you're like, oh crap, right? And then you kind of weed them out, but you'll learn from it. But, you also have to, when you start creating these leads, have a good criteria for filtering the bad clients out.
Yeah, that's super important, because you can waste your time if not, dealing with the not right fit clients. Even if they're not the right fit because they haven't got the budget to spend, or even if they're not the right fit because they're just going to be a nightmare to deal with. Because we've all got nightmare clients, definitely.
Yeah,
for sure.
But you don't have to. You don't have to have the nightmare clients.
Yeah, no. Well, I would love to be in that situation one day for sure. But Jason, let people know where they can find out a bit more about you and how to connect with you a little bit more.
Yeah, the best place is the website. jasonswank.com. Swank is spelled SWENK. I'm getting really, I'm telling a lot of stories on Snapchat. So if you guys want to follow me at Snapchat, which is just JSwank, and I love all these platforms, as well as Anchor. I'm on Anchor too. So if you want to ask me questions directly, hit me up on Snapchat or Anchor.
Cool. Okay. And yeah, definitely if you're, a fellow agency owner, check out the Agency Owner podcast and the digital Agency Owners Master something group. I forget that one on Facebook.
Yeah, so if you go to my website, go under resources, there's a Digital Agency Owner Insiders Facebook group. It's free, but you have to be an agency owner and you have to be a good person. So if you try to sell people there, you're going to get removed. But
yeah, it's a cool group.
Access to it. Yeah, I mean, and we should be cracking the 1,000 mark. Actually probably today. So we have 1,000 agency owners in there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, thanks very much for being on the show, Jason. I really appreciate you coming on.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And that's it for another episode of the More Demand Podcast. I'll make sure to see you next Wednesday.
Thanks for listening to the More Demand Podcast. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on iTunes and get the latest episode direct to your device every Wednesday.